Does government have a right to muzzle ministers, to dictate what pastors can preach from the pulpit? Hello, I'm Tony Perkins, President of the Family Research Council and National Spokesman for Pulpit Freedom Sunday. Many pastors and churches have been bullied by the IRS into silence when it comes to preaching the whole counsel of God, particularly as it applies to electing godly leaders and promoting righteous and just laws. Their justification? A 1954 amendment to the tax code by then-Senator Lyndon Johnson. The amendment stated that nonprofit tax-exempt entities, which include churches, could not, quote, participate in or intervene in, including the publishing or distributing of statements, any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for public office, end quote. Well, since the amendment passed, the IRS has maintained that any speech that could be construed as supporting or opposing candidates for government office, including sermons from the pulpit, can result in loss of tax exemption. Now, after the amendment, churches faced a choice: speak freely on all issues addressed by Scripture and potentially risk their tax exemption, or remain silent and protect their tax exemption. Unfortunately, many ministers opted to remain silent, and therefore the church has mainly stayed on the sidelines. And the quality of government, the character of our culture, has spiraled downward. But with God's help and your involvement, we can change that. Listen, what you preach from your pulpit is between you and God. The IRS has no right to censor your sermons. Your God-given right, as affirmed in the First Amendment, trumps any rule the IRS can use to try to silence you. I trust you would agree with the response Peter and the apostles gave to their governing officials. We must obey God rather than men. So we're asking you to do two things in response to this unconstitutional IRS rule. First, preach to your congregation. Sign up to participate on October the 2nd and preach a message about the upcoming elections. Traditionally, Pulpit Freedom Sunday pastors have spoken directly and scripturally about candidates, and that is your constitutional right. However, you may only want to keep it general and simply encourage your church members to exercise their stewardship responsibilities to be salt and light in the election process, and that is your right as well. Regardless, preach to your congregation on October the 2nd about their responsibility to participate in the upcoming elections. Second, petition Congress. Congress passed the unconstitutional Johnson Amendment in 1954. Now they need to repeal it so that the muzzle is taken off of ministers. Encourage your church members to call their members of Congress at area code 202-224-3121 and urge them to repeal the part of the IRS code called the Johnson Amendment. So petition Congress. Again, this joint project of Alliance Defending Freedom and FRC is not only biblically based, historically proven, constitutionally sound, but it's also backed by an army of ADF attorneys who are standing by to defend any church investigated by the IRS. In fact, since launching the initiative in 2008, the IRS has yet to prosecute a single church, not one. What has happened is that pastors have received overwhelming responses from their congregations, many receiving standing ovations. So, visit the website frc.org/pulpit to sign up. Mark your calendar for October the 2nd and join the Pulpit Freedom Sunday movement.